Welcome back to Super Tuesday Recap. This is your host, Kriss here, and I don't have my usual Super Tuesday host with me. Dpalm has gone and got himself married, so congratulations are in order for him. But we're bringing in another Super Tuesday voice that is no stranger to you all. I am bringing in Shanna here. How you doing, ma'am?
I'm good. I'm excited to talk about this episode of Arrow because, you know, my stuff, my stuff is happening.
Like she said, we're here to talk the latest episode of Arrow, episode 4, season 6, reversal. Black Siren launches another attack on Star City just when Oliver has gotten things in order. The reason why I asked you on this episode is because I knew there would be Felicity and Oliver stuff in this episode. So I was like, you know what? I need somebody to fill in the gap who's going to appreciate that. And you were the top of the list for talking about that. Before I get into that, though, I do want to ask you, what do you think of the season so far?
I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. I know people make fun of it. I think the Arrow Diggle switch is reminding me a lot of the Sam Steve thing in the comics. Mm-hmm. When Sam took over as Captain America. I really like it, although they're already setting up Diggle to have a big fall. I'm not happy about that part. But yeah, I think it's interesting that they're letting Oliver has not put on the suit once so far this season. And I think last season when he decided for a while to stop being the Arrow as well, he was out of the suit for like 2 or 3 episodes. That's bold to not have your main star, the person the show is named after, be in the suit.
Well, and like you said, they did it last season with him not being the Green Arrow, but nobody else put the suit on, right? It was just him not being the Green Arrow. They've actually put, like, Dpalm and I, we were like, I mean, it's great that they're doing this, but Dig will be back in the suit by the end of Oliver will be back in the suit by the end of the episode, and now it's 2 episodes where Oliver hasn't even thought about putting the suit back on. It's like, no, this is really what it is. I mean, the end of this episode is him, hey guys, we need to go do this, and he's like, I'm sorry, this is not my job anymore. I'm gonna take my girl and I'm gonna go. So y'all have fun. And I'm like, oh shit, they're really doing it. I mean, this is kind of we mentioned it before. This is what I think a lot of people were wondering that the Flash would do with Wally, right? That we would see Wally taking over the duties as the Flash for a while Barry got his bearings together. Now, again, different situation. I totally understand why they didn't do that with the Flash. I think Diggle's way more suited to take over for Green Arrow than Wally is to be the Flash. But like you said, it's very bold. Like, I'm sitting here the entire time going, so you guys are gonna put Oliver back in the suit, right? Like, what's going on here? Like, there wasn't even a hint this episode of Diggle having any problems.
Nope.
So, like, we know that again from last episode, what happened with he's on them drugs, and he's got some issues. But this week, there were no hints of that. The team worked fine. Hell, Felicity was MIA for a while, and they worked fine without her. So it was like, that's damn interesting. But what's interesting also is it's still Oliver's story. They're able to now focus on Oliver's other parts of their lives, and that's what's been so interesting to me the last 2 seasons is the story itself has kind of addressed head on some of the things that the audience has been watching. Like, this season is really addressing the fact that, hey, yeah, we get a lot of Oliver the Green Arrow, but what about him being mayor? What about him being, his life outside of being the Green Arrow, him being a father, him being a boyfriend, fiance, husband eventually? What about all those aspects of his life? And this season is pretty much saying, oh, you guys want to see how he's juggling that and see how he can put all those pieces back together? Well, here we go. And it hasn't been bad. It's actually been pretty interesting.
And also him finding a new place within the team as well. I like the whole thing of him saying to Felicity, I want it to be that backup for you because you've always been that backup for me. And his speech to John last week about, him being Like, you're the best man I know. And I love the opening too, where he says that, like, I handed the reins over to the best man I know.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely.
And it's so beautiful and sweet.
Because you know that when the fall happens, it's gonna be hard.
Oh yeah.
But I think that I think this is the thing that's always kind of plagued all Arrow for, and I can't even say this for last season. I think this is why Arrow's always been the butt of the jokes, and people will say, "Oh, Arrow's bad." It's like, yeah, I can get that if you stop watching after season 2, but season 5 and 6 have really been on some. It's been a different Oliver. It's not a whole lot of, oh, Oliver, you're just being stupid, or Oliver, you're not understanding. Like, we've seen Oliver, we've actually had the growth of Oliver. It's been kind of weird this seeing Oliver be in these situations where you're like, wait, you understand? You're being supportive? Wait, you're being the Felicity in the situation? And I don't just mean being the person in the chair. It's like being the, hey, you know what? No, you kind of blame yourself for this. I've been in that situation. I'm going to give you the advice that you used to give me, and be understanding. And they're just like, who are you? This is not Oliver Queen. This is not the guy we know, but it's actually been fresh, because again, I think that's one of the things that people have been, even fans of the show, been wondering. It's like, hey, Oliver, at some point you got to grow. At some point you got to believe in your team. You got to trust in yourself. You got to trust in your team, and you have to be a better person. And he has been this season. It's been.
That's the thing. I would say since last season, we've been saying for forever, like, we want Oliver to grow. We want Oliver to grow. He keeps falling back into these same patterns. And I think since last season, he's really been actively like, I'm not going back to being the brooding, morose, blaming myself for everything. Even the stuff with Adrian Chase,
Mm-hmm.
he recognized that Adrian is a product of his early Arrow years, but he didn't say, and it's all my fault. He was kind of like, yeah, but I didn't make you into a psycho. Like, you chose to be this. It might have been due to some of my actions, but you chose to be this. And I really appreciated that he didn't, and he didn't try and close everybody out and be like, I have to take care of this on my own, which I think was what was frustrating me this episode about Felicity, because I'm like, this is all the stuff. It's funny because Felicity and Diggle are doing the exact things that they used to tell Oliver not to do.
Well, yes, and it's something we've seen. We actually, again, if you think about it, this is something we've seen since last season, because even this episode with the whole Cayden James thing, all of that stuff came from last season, and what Oliver was telling Felicity, hey, listen, you're shutting me out, you're doing all this stuff, and she just didn't listen. Here you have this episode, she does it again, you're like, yeah, okay. And I think that last episode with Diggle kind of explained why they're both like this. It's like, it's different when it's them making the choice. It's so much easier when you're the person giving the advice. It's like giving relationship advice. It's like, oh yeah, that's fucking easy when it's not your own life.
I give awesome relationship advice. I have never really been in a long-term relationship, but I am awesome when it comes to the advice.
Oh yeah,
years of watching television have just given me all the insight.
Right, but then when it's time it's.
I love that. I love that the show is saying that. I think we have really been very harsh on Oliver, saying, God, like, why is he so brooding? Why is he always taking all this guilt on himself? And then to see immediately, once they're the ones in the position of making the decisions, they're doing the exact things they spent years telling Oliver not to do.
Yeah, it's easier when you start seeing it from other people, because again, we've seen Oliver in those situations, we've seen him grow for all these times. You're just like, oh, this is easy. Now you're seeing, like Felicity said to Oliver this episode, she's like, yo, all these years, how did you do this? She's like, how did you do this being the only person out there? You're like, because again, so in this episode, her releasing Cayden James last year with last season with Helix comes back and bites her in the ass. Bites the entire team in the ass because he's back now. He's the one that got off the plane to save Black Siren, and he's back with a vengeance and is set up to fuck shit up. And people are dying, and there's a lot of things going on. And Felicity looks at it like, "Yo, this is my fault. I messed up. How do you deal with it? People died because of the decision that I made. How did you survive making these kinds of decisions?" And it's just so funny seeing Oliver sitting there calmly going, "Oh well, I didn't. I had you guys." And I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the cliche answer, but it's also just like it ate you up. Like, it was brutal." But I think, but it goes back to show you that Oliver, last episode when Oliver looked at Diggle and was like, "Hey, listen, if it wasn't for you, I would have still been some vigilante going around killing people on a vengeance streak, And so without these people, without especially Diggle and Felicity, Oliver Queen would be a much different person. I mean, hell, he might be locked up right now. Like, I think he probably would be. I think it's safe to say he would probably be fucking locked up right now. If not for Felicity and Diggle. So yeah, I mean, I can definitely see how he shows up and says that. So let's see. One of the things that stood out to me, because we talked about this last week, and it's small things that they say that let me know that things are not going to end well for this team, because it doesn't, right? I mean, Arrow's a darker show, but I do think that I feel like across all, and again, you'll know more about this because you're up on Supergirl. I feel like they're still going with all the shows are still, things are going to go bad, but they're not going 100% terrible. They're not going. No. They're not going as dark as they went last year with what was it? The Flash and things like that. They still know, hey, listen, we're going to have some serious things here, and we're going to be dealing with them, but we're not going to go overboard with the darkness. And I kind of feel that even with Arrow, that they're easing us into it. We know it's going to go bad because they had in this episode, it's like, oh yeah, 70% of the city supports is against the referendum or against banning vigilantes. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to stay at that high. I mean, they were talking about how, oh wow, that's not high enough. It's only 70%. As much times as we say the same, I'm like, 70% on any kind of referendum is pretty fucking good. You guys are basically criminals running around in mass, and you're outlaws. So at 70% right now is good. That is going to crash. Something's going to happen, and the city's going to blame vigilantes, and it's going to be bad.
Felicity's imprint is now on this hack and that he wanted, and then on top, the officer, the Agent Watson, she's figured it all out. It's not like these people don't hang out. Outside of being vigilantes. Right. So she has the whole board. She knows the whole thing. So I don't doubt that something's going to happen. It's going to come out that Felicity is behind this hack. And then all the rest of the dominoes are just going to fall.
Well, here's the thing that got me too. So nobody but the team really knows that this Laurel Lance from Earth 2 is around. So the only Canary Cry person they know is around is Dinah. So they have these three bodies that happened that died from being, died from a canary cry in the ear. I'm like, so what's going to happen when the police put that together and figure out something about it, and they point the finger at Dinah, and then it comes out that she so right now you have two of the team members have basically been compromised in criminal investigations. They might not say it right now, but that's where the fingerprints are. Like Felicity's fingerprints are on the hack, and then the only Canary Cry villain that people know of is a vigilante. So this could go bad. And then Wild Dog is still using bullets. He shot somebody in the gut this week, and I'm just like, this motherfucker's still using regular bullets. They have not given him rubber bullets. He is still shooting people. This is gonna be bad. They need to
Felicity and Oliver are linked together. People know that they used to be engaged. They know that they're together, they're getting back together. That woman was like me in the restaurant. She's like, "Are you two back together?" And so you already have a mayor who's been accused of being soft on, at the very least, he's been accused of being the vigilante, but also at the very least being soft on vigilante.
Oh, he's
What
sleeping.
happens when it comes
Yeah.
out that his girlfriend is one of them?
Yeah. It's just, I can see how this is all going. And God forbid, Diggle as the Green Arrow fucks up and he's on drug because of drugs or something like that. God forbid that happens. Oh my God. It all goes downhill. Like, I am not looking forward to the crash of Team Arrow right now. I mean, they're going to survive it and they'll come through it. And Oliver's it's going to be a struggle to, and that's what I like about this. It's always going to be a struggle for him to keep this optimism that he has right now. But all of his worlds are going to come crashing together, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good. And, but I like it. Like I said, the stuff that it is doing is working really well. The fact that they're bringing back Cayden James, the fact that they brought what was it, the other hacker girl that she shows up and I'm like, not you, you need to go away. You know, Elena, I think that's her name. Yeah. So, I thought that was really great.
I see, and this is why I think bad thoughts, and it's a good thing people can't read my mind. Because honestly, I wanted her dead. When they found out that she had been shot, I was so excited.
Oh no! You're not the only one.
Yeah,
Don't feel bad. This is a safe
died.
space. This is a safe space. You know, I wanted her dead too. I thought she was gonna die, and she did. And I was like, then they were like, "Oh no, I'll come to work for you." I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't know about
I
that.
honestly wanted William dead too until like an episode ago.
Oh no,
So.
No, Wilm's gotten pretty good for me. I like the hint that the system is set up so good that Wilm can do it. I'm like, oh, so you're gonna bring your son into the fold? Because
No.
that's the obvious way to handle it. So that because Oliver's gonna eventually have to go back in the field, so you got to make it a family affair. Let him be Overwatch, mini Overwatch. I mean, I'm just saying. Only way to handle it, yo. Only way to handle it. Only way to deal with it.
I mean, I'm happier with him now that he's not being like a total douche. But I still don't understand why we need a child around.
No. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I'm so kind of rooting for either that or boarding school.
Yes, send that kid off to school somewhere. Like I know his mom just died or whatever, but wouldn't he be happier with his grandparents?
See, that's what I got. I was like, wait a minute. Doesn't he have grandparents? Doesn't he have?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Why does Oliver have to take him? How
that makes no sense.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think is because Oliver's whole thing of like people will find him, just like they managed to find him before. But I still don't. I'm just like at this point, I don't know. Put a tracker on the kid. I got nothing. He's a mess. But I like that he likes Felicity. I think that's sweet. Their whole relationship.
Oh, I mean, well, that was the kicker. If he didn't like Felicity, then he had to go.
Yeah.
I mean,
I like that he's not trying. I thought also they might try to do like a weird, creepy subplot where he has an actual crush on Felicity. I'm glad they didn't do that.
Yeah, that's not.
Like he was gonna be like, because they go out of their way to make this kid annoying. So I thought it was gonna be like where he feels like this weird competition with Oliver for Felicity, and I was gonna be like, no, dude, that's not cute.
And you would lose that very, very poorly. So.
Yeah, because like Oliver might not be as smart as you, but he got that square jawline. So.
So I also love the fact that apparently they listen to us, and because last episode I said, listen, Felicity and Curtis, you're trying to figure out what you guys can sell. You literally have life-saving technology embedded into the spine of fucking Felicity. So Elena, like on her deathbed, is basically like, oh yeah, you guys do have that technology in your spine, what you got fired for. And Felicity's like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh god, you guys really kept this chick Elena alive just so she can remind,
just for that one moment,
just to remind, right? Just to remind Felicity that hey, dummy, you're being able to walk because you have a chip in your spine that that could actually be something that changes the fucking world. Like, duh, but. But you know what though? It kind of does make sense with her and Curtis because they're both the two. They're very smart people, but they also feel like the people that literally do miss things that are right in front of their face. So it kind of makes sense that they didn't realize that they had a multi-billion-dollar idea living inside of one of them. So
they're a mess.
yeah,
I like that they're calling it Helix Dynamics. Isn't that the name of Felicity's company in the comics?
I'm not sure. Is it? When did?
Because I know in the comics she owns her own company.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna Google it right now.
Yeah. I'm not. Because wait, did they added her right
To the
comics?
comics?
Right? Yeah.
She was in the comics before she was
Okay.
a bad guy.
Felicity.
Yeah, so Felicity in the comics was like similar to Ravager. She's one of Oliver's father's many
Got you.
mistresses. Yeah.
Well, no, Ravager was his was well, wait, because wasn't Ravager? I thought Ravager is Deathstroke's daughter.
Isn't Ravager well, in the way they had her on the show, she's I think they like took those characters
they
and
changed
merged
them
them
around.
together
Yeah,
because on the show she used to date Oliver's father.
No. Yeah. On the show, they definitely did it that way. Yeah. So it's weird. It's very
It's creepy.
It's like the Deathstroke Terra thing, which is you find out you're like, oh yeah, okay. Oh wait, he was sleeping with what? But wasn't he on the Teen Titans? So doesn't that make her a teenager? Doesn't that? That's a little pedophile. That's a little creepy. That's a little more creepy than I thought. We didn't need to. Okay, so yeah, the comics back in the day were kind of weird. Like,
well, the Valkyrie Thor relationship in the comics, like when it first started, that was creepy because she was super young looking and like having explicit sex scenes with Thor.
That's the weird thing with comics though. And they've stopped doing it now because obviously, duh. But yeah, a lot of guys were telling on themselves back in the day. You're just like how they used to draw the when they introduced the Dora Milaje, and it's like, oh yeah, they're 16 they're 16 years old. I'm like, wait a minute, you drew these? Like I'm looking at these black women, like, oh look at these sexy black women. Then later on, they're 16 years old. You're like, okay, you just made me feel creepy. Like why are you drawing these grown ass black women and then saying that they're 16 years old? That is disgusting. That is ridiculous. And they literally have open characters, not just the thing with T'Challa when he later on gets drugged, but they literally have like Ross like openly like sexualizing them in his head at some point. I'm just like, yeah, guys, you could have just made them 25. Like that would have
so creepy.
You guys didn't have to make them 6. Like, what is it with you guys and making these girls 16? Like that's just terrible.
Because I went and read those Marvel comics, the ones that are like super sketchy and extra sexual. I went and read those issues because I heard like it was on the top,
the Christopher
like
Priest
top
Hotep?
10 most creepy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I was like, whoa, that's the one where they just flat out have Wanda hooking up with Pietro.
Oh, yeah.
They just are flat out like, yeah, incest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just one of those things that people are a little bit Wasn't the Wanda and Pietro thing? Wasn't that the Ultimates? I think that was the Ultimates, right? Isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just sometimes people just got a little bit weird with things. It's just like every now and then when. Again,
and there's like Black Widow and Tony like have like a sex tape that gets released. It's a creepy. And it's like Thor is hooking up with Valkyrie, but I think also they allude to the fact that it's either him or someone else has like hooked up with Squirrel Girl.
That's just yeah. I mean, it goes back to show you why you need diversity and inclusion in comics. Just at least in the editor's room, so you can have some editor go into the guy going, okay, no, we're not doing that. Change that. We don't need to do that. That's just creepy. That's no, like, you know. It's like when people talk about, I know we're off on a tangent here, folks, but just deal with it. It's like when people talk about Old Man Logan and the whole thing with Bruce Banner raping Jessica and they had little Hulk kids and things. I'm like, yeah, you know, that's just completely unnecessary. And the whole reasoning behind it was disgusting. And people go, "Oh man, I love Old Man Logan. You love that? You love that? Do you love that? Do you love the fact that Hulk and Bruce Banner raped his tied up and raped Jessica, just so he can have Hulk babies? You love that part? They basically turned it into The Hills Have Eyes. You like that? You enjoyed that? That was actually pretty fucking disgusting. Not great writing. You know, it's just sorry.
Or the one where Ant-Man is blatantly beating Wasp.
Oh well, that's just the one reason why I appreciate that is they still bring that up. Like that's one thing that happened in Secret Empire that I love when Tony brought that shit back up. It was like, oh well, man, you're kind of a douche, you put your hands on Jane, and we kind of just didn't fuck with you after that. I'm just like, huh. Oh, well, you know what? That's one of the ones I can appreciate. Everything else, though, gets kind of glossed over. Nobody really talks about the fact that, oh, yeah, incest, statutory rape, that kind of stuff. Yeah, we just want, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, anyway, sorry. Completely off topic there. I don't even know what we were talking about, how we got there, but that's what we do here on the show. I was going to say something else I've really enjoyed this episode. Again, always... I was going to bring this up because it's a safe way to say this because Inhumans is not a good show. The fight scenes, I love just seeing the work.
The fight scenes were really good.
Yeah, I love. They put effort into it. They put work in. Hell, man, one thing that they've done this season that is not getting credit because again, listen, I'm always going to be the Laurel Lance Defense Club here, and I know I'm always alone in that. So now that she's Black Siren, she can fight.
Oh no, I love Dark Laurel. Dark Black Siren Laurel is amazing.
She hit Diggle with the double feet to the chest and then disappeared.
Yes.
And I was just like, yeah, you guys keep treating her like old Laurel, and you guys are gonna get your ass whooped. So, yeah, she gotta go.
And I want more of her too because I feel like there's so much there with whatever happened with her family, her Earth 2 family.
And I think we're going to get that because remember last season, I mean, obviously, yeah, they, with them saying that Lance, Quentin shot her and things like that. But even the season they showed at the end, he didn't shoot her at the end of that. Was it the first episode or second episode? And she didn't fuck with him and she just walked right by him. And remember, she kind of saved him separate from everybody else when she kidnapped him last season. There definitely is something there. Because she feels that even though he knows she's not his Laurel, that he definitely feels some kind of love for her. And it's so very clear that that's a love she never experienced back on Earth, too. So,
and she also keeps saying, like, she keeps mentioning it. There's the part where in this episode where the guy's like, I have a wife and 2 daughters. And she's like, I had a family. Like, they keep mentioning the fact that she had a family. She had a family.
Yeah. So I'm going to be real interested in seeing how they play with that. Because, like you said, I think that there is there's something there. There's I think this makes her character. It's kind of funny. The same thing that's happening with Caitlin on The Flash. It's like, when you make them these darker characters, or you kind of give into it, it's like it makes them a little bit more interesting. So,
I think it also goes back to the fact that there's something with the CW writers; they don't know how to write happy women for the most part. I think they're doing a better job now with Iris of making her like fun and funny, and still be interesting. But I think they have a hard time with that because right now I feel like on Supergirl, Kara is getting some of the best scenes, and a lot of it is because she's in a darker place. And the same thing with Alex and Maggie. Like now that they're breaking up, there's just a lot of really good scenes coming out of it, and I'm just like, maybe they don't know how to write people who are happy.
Well, I'll take it a step further. You know what it is? Because you mentioned Iris and they kind of do the same thing with Felicity. They can only write them happy if they're in a relationship. Because here you go, you got Felicity back in a relationship with Oliver. You have Iris who's, she's happy, but she's in a relationship with Barry. and that's the only happiness they have. The only female character that does really well, that they've done really well with, that can write happy and can write kind of well adjusted, Sarah Lance. Sarah Lance still is
Yes.
Sarah Lance on Legend of Tomorrow stays the best written, well-rounded female character they've ever had. She's had her dark moments, she's had her happy moments, she's had her fun moments. She kicks ass all the time. Like, she is the best well-written character out of all the CW Arrowverse shows when it comes to female characters. It's just what it is. So they've allowed her to be strong. They've allowed her to be vulnerable. They've allowed her to have some dark moments. She has fun. She's a great leader. She's all of these things. She's able to do all that stuff, and they haven't given her a relationship.
Yeah.
So she's the only one they can do that with. And like you said, I think that they are getting better with the other women characters. But again, even then, it's like you're dealing with Iris, who's in a relationship. I'm hoping that Caitlin can be one, because again, they don't have her in a relationship right now, and I'm hoping they don't put her in one with the elongated man. I'm hoping they don't do it with Ralph.
Then we don't need that.
Because then he's gonna die. Well, then he's gonna die, because none of her boyfriends live or stay around. Shout out to what was his name? Julian, who's now off.
Oh, they just quietly got rid of Julian.
Right,
I was not expecting that to happen.
They hit Julian with a bad nigga, and I would like to see. And I think they've hinted at it. We'll get more with Dinah on Arrow, because again, not being in a relationship. Although I do think her relationship is going to be with Diggle. But I'm just being messy here. But maybe even with her, getting more of her character as well. And we'll see. But yeah, that is something that I think they've struggled with, and they are getting better. But it goes to show you that, like, to me, when it comes to female characters, Legend of Tomorrow is their show. Like, to me, Legend of Tomorrow, when it comes to their female characters, is not as good, but it's like Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. leads with all their female characters, just all kick ass. And that's what Legend of Tomorrow is. I've even liked what they've done with, even though I hate Nate, I like what they've done with Amaya, and basically being like, this white boy is getting on my nerves now. I made a mistake.
Like, the amount of eye rolls that she gives Nate. She's like, ugh.
She's like, I can't believe I slept with this dude. Like, it's just like I'm getting that moment. She hit him with the, maybe we should just focus on being friends. And I'm just like, thank God, because he's an idiot. He's a fucking idiot. So,
so dumb.
Yeah, he's so fucking stupid. So, but no, I really feel that, and we'll see how they go moving forward with that. Let's see if I have anything else here.
Speaking of Felicity and her being happy and being in a relationship, I also I'm with this trend of superheroes being happy and in love, and it not being having to save someone the whole time. And I like that stuff. I don't need every episode for Felicity to be in danger or Iris to be in danger. I'm happy to see them, like, giving each other kisses, and someone is sitting at the console telling the other one how to get through whatever through the bad guys. I'm fine with that. I don't need everybody to be dying and be saved, and there to be some huge save the world kind of thing every week. I just think it's great where both couples are right now, and I really want them to keep it that way.
Well, I think early complaints about Iris, and even a little bit with, not as much with Felicity, because I think so it was different, right? Felicity has always kind of been in the spot because Felicity she started off basically as support for the team to begin with. So she was already integrated into the team, and as basically, give her a code name, but she's always basically been Overwatch. So the relationship developed after her being Overwatch, and that's where it came from. And so Felicity's kind of been in a better spot than Iris was. Iris was one of the ones where you bring it in, and she doesn't know that the guy likes. First of all, that Barry liked her, and that Barry was the Flash, and all this other stuff. So it's taken a time for them to get to this part where they've integrated her into the team. Now they are, and I think that's what the problem was last season with them. Everything was a race to save Iris, and that made that drag that entire season down. Now that they've gotten past that, she's now in the Felicity spot. Not the same way, but like she's integrated into the team. So you treat her like she's a member of the team, not like she's a damsel in distress.
But
And
even when Felicity and Oliver first got together, so much like the minute they got together, it was like,
yeah,
well, I don't know if I can be with you because
oh,
what if
absolutely.
something happens to you and I put the people I love in danger? And like, and then it turned into like Oliver's guilt is keeping them apart. And I don't need that kind of drama with my couples. I am happy with
Yeah.
my couples just being couples and being happy.
Yeah, they're in the team. You look,
Yeah.
Oliver. You don't feel the same way for Diggle. You don't feel the same way
Yeah.
for any other. You don't feel the same way for Dinah. Like, so why the fuck? I mean, I get that she's important to you and she's you, but like, dude, come the fuck on. Like, let's get with the program. So no, I'm 100% with you on that one, and I appreciate that. Like, even down to the episode where he did try to save her, and she was like, "Dude, what are you doing? You fucked it up. Like you messed up."
Like I had a plan. I had a plan. Although he was right.
No, he
she
was.
should have
Right.
at least I'm tired of people not telling other folks when they're going into danger.
Right.
Just I get it if you're like, I can't handle it, I got this. Just let somebody know where you are. So that if something does go down, they at least know to go looking for you.
And I will give her credit for this. Like, I think because they were going to get the ghost drive first, so that's why she didn't call Diggle, because it didn't involve Cayden James then. But when she did and Diggle called her, she did tell her, like, listen, it's a Cayden James. She did not tell him what it was, and I appreciated that because that's how Diggle knew where she was and how the team knew to come and save her, because they realized who it was and what was going on. They were like, oh shit, we gotta go save Felicity. But yeah, no, you're 100% right on that one. Like, it's like, yeah, you and while I appreciated her going with what you were saying, her getting on Oliver, like, hey, you shouldn't have come to save her. He was right. This is what he was right for. He might have been a little premature, but it's like, yeah, Felicity, no, you and Hacker Chick were way over your heads on this one. You shouldn't have done that. But still, it goes to show you that she's like, yo, no, I didn't need your help, and that's what we need. Like, you know what I actually like to see at this point, kind of like what they did with the Flash. Now, granted, it's a little bit different because Barry has super speed, so they can all hit their fucking locators, and Barry shows up there in the nick of, in no time. But I like for Team Arrow to have the same thing. So I believe they all have trackers on them. I think they do.
But that was the thing that was funny to me when Felicity was saying how she's looking into she was like, oh, I'm looking into developing some sort of like smart home security stuff. And I'm like, y'all can barely keep people out of the Arrow cave.
Right.
What are you doing?
Well, no, I get that one though, because they'll come with, because you know how when you order something like that and it comes off with the guy in the end with this, it does not work against ninjas and super metahumans and things like that. That's what it would be like. It doesn't work against ninjas. Like, you can't use it against ninjas. Yeah. So yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I got nothing else for this episode, but I did find it weird. When I was rewatching, I just watched this episode like an hour ago. I'm watching the episode, and this happened on Thursday, and sometimes you get local news alerts coming on your TV and stuff like that. So I had a local news alert, and I'm gonna read you what. And I haven't looked at the story, but I might have to do this for the insanity check. It says Fairfax man commits suicide with chainsaw.
How?
I had so many questions. It came across in the middle of the recording, and I was just like, how did he? There wasn't a less
that seems
painful.
like a really hard way. Like, there are easier ways to commit.
Yeah, I mean, look, suicide is not the answer, and if you're feeling suicidal, definitely go talk to somebody. But a chainsaw, really, dude? Like.
I mean, in general, they say that when men commit suicide, they do it in ways that are harder to, when women commit suicide, they tend to do it in ways where like somebody can find you and stop you. Mm-hmm. Whereas like when men do it, they tend to do it in ways that are like definitively like, no, I really want to die.
Well, a chainsaw is definitely,
but a chainsaw feels like overkill.
Good God, like, what did you do? Like, oh man, like, were you gonna just, I don't know what the plan was with that, but it was, holy shit. I saw that come across and I was like, yeah, and then there was another one at the end where they came and was like, yeah, a local man murders wife with axe. I'm like, where are, Are we living in the 1870s? Like, what the fuck happened on Thursday? Like, I don't know what the fuck I was doing Thursday, but what the fuck happened Thursday that people lost their goddamn mind? We had an axe murder and we had somebody committing suicide with a chainsaw, and I lost my mind. I don't know what's going on here. So, do you have anything else with this episode?
No, I'm super happy with it. I love their little kisses. I love their little like like whenever she runs off, she just gives him like 3 quick pecks. I really adore it.
He's back to being he's the Felicity. I love that he's like, is this how it felt when I used to do this to you? She was like, yeah. He's like, oh.
She's like, pretty much.
Yeah. Huh. But again, he's supportive of it, and like it's and I like this Oliver. I like seeing how well adjusted he's become, and they said we were gonna get a new Oliver, and we definitely have. So,
and he was so proud of himself, sitting behind the thing. He's like, okay, so you're gonna take your next right, and then she's like, are you sure? And he's like, you're right. I mean the left. He's like, give me a second. I'm figuring this out. It's so sweet. He's so excited to be the one helping.
Right. Like I loved it when Diggle called for Overwatch. Diggle's like, oh, she's busy right now, and Oliver's like, yeah, she's busy right now. And Diggle didn't even ask like Oliver. Like he didn't even say anything. He just like, okay, I'm not even gonna question this shit.
He's like, I don't want to know why you're in the chair. I don't. We won't discuss this.
No.
And I enjoyed like Oliver having that moment where he's like, so what we need to do next? And he's like, oh, and I loved it because everybody looked at him like, come on, you don't do this anymore,
right? Come on, Hoss, why you here? Why you go off? He's like, you know what? You're right. I'm gonna take my girl. I'm gonna go meet some dessert.
Exactly. Oh my god. Oh, speaking of, for all the haters who are like, Oliver and Felicity don't have chemistry. I'm sorry.
Wait, who says that?
No.
Who says they don't have chemistry?
Lots of people. They say they don't look like they have chemistry when they kiss. The way he had her up against that wall.
Wait a minute. You know what? This is why I don't get into shipper wars. If people just be saying shit just to be saying shit, because they've always had chemistry. That's always been the thing. It's like he had more chemistry with her than he ever did with either. Well, maybe not Sarah as much, but way more than he did with Laurel. So it's like, what the fuck?
I always go back to Stephen and Mel said the first time that they did a scene together, Emily made him smile, and it was the first time as Oliver he had smiled on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I was like, they have had chemistry since day one. That was why she was supposed to be a 2-episode guest star.
Oh, really? I can see that.
Yeah.
But they worked so well, yeah.
Where they had cast her, she was just going to be like this girl who helps Oliver a couple times and is, friends with Walter. That was going to be her whole thing for a couple episodes.
No, I mean, from the moment he shows up in the IT department to talk to her, you're like, oh, I see where this is going. Like, yeah, they can. I mean, I can see how they started off with her just being one. No, it makes sense. Like, you can't. You got to keep that growing and go. I can't. People say she didn't have chemistry. I also love the fact that you gotta love Curtis being the one the shipper, and the team to go. Oh wait, no, I sent you a 911 text and broke up your dinner. It's like, no, I'll handle this. You go get your dessert. You go leave. Let me handle this.
Also, super funny when they got the phone call that broke up. Like when they're making out, because she assumes it's her, and then he's like, "Oh no, it's me." Yeah. Like that whole little scene right before you realize it's Slade, which I don't know where they're going with this thing, but that should be interesting next week. Like I was just like, this is exactly how it should be. This is exactly how it should be if you're dating a vigilante superhero.
Yes. No, it works. I enjoy that. So, oh man, people said they don't have this is when shipping gets to your mind and you just say things to be saying them to fit your narrative, because that's the best chemistry. Oh, fucking okay, whatever. If you are subscribed to, so make sure you subscribe to Super Tuesday Recap, so you can get all of these shows. Shanna will be back on for Supergirl this week, but she'll also be back on with me in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, we'll be doing the next set of the Gifted reviews. I know you can't do next
messy,
week.
Also excited.
Yes, can't wait for that. Also, you guys can thank Dpalm's wedding and the fact that I was just super tired when I put it up. The Star Trek Discovery review also went on to everybody instead of just a Super Tuesday recap feed. That's normally, it doesn't happen. Normally, it only goes on Super Tuesday recap feed. But it was like 12 hours later before I realized I'd put it up for everybody. You're welcome. Just thank Dpalm, thank Dpalm, and him getting married. For you all everybody getting that. But check that out because we definitely had a lot of fun on that last review. Star Trek Discovery is an awesome show. You want to check that out as well. So, again, folks, thank you very much for listening. Until next time, we're out of here. Peace.